So I took the biggest dump of my life on Saturday.
Yep.
Last week you compared Michigan beating Ohio State to taking a huge dump that's been held in forever.
10 years of constipation.
Yeah, 10 years of constipation relieved instantly, and I've got to say, well, not instantly, over the course of 3.5 hours, whatever.
Yeah.
I got to say, it felt really, really good. I'm coming out of my cage, and I've been doing just fine, Zach. Not just because Michigan won the game, but because of how they won the game, because of how it felt. This didn't seem anything at all like a fluke. I'm not saying Michigan's going to dominate the next decade or anything.
Yeah.
This just wasn't like 2011 when Ohio State finished 6-7 with Luke Fickell, and then Michigan still barely won on I already admitted it was a controversial interception, whatever. Michigan dropped back to pass, guess how many times in the second half?
In the second half?
Yeah.
5?
4.
Oof.
Michigan passed 4 times in the second half, and Hassan Haskins ran for 4 second-half touchdowns. Ohio State knew what was coming. They crashed the box, and it didn't matter.
They did nothing to fix it.
0 tackles for loss all game. Literally not even a run for no gain.
Yeah.
Ohio State had 18 third downs to Michigan's 8, 4 fourth downs to Michigan's 1. So, C.J. Stroud threw for 394 yards, but this was also his third worst yards per attempt all season with only 2 touchdowns. One of those touchdowns was the crazy NFL level catch from Garrett Wilson. Just insane in the corner of the end zone.
You can't take that away from CJ.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, that was an amazing catch. One was inches away from getting batted down by Hutchinson. Like, I was pissed he didn't just turn and run and tackle Travion Henderson, but it's easy for me to say because it didn't work when he jumped.
That play was incredible.
It was a perfect call.
And Travion Henderson, to keep his balance on that, as he was catching it, I was like, oh, he's going to catch it and fall. And then he caught his balance and then just darted to the end zone. That
was one of the fourth downs. Yeah. There were a few other elite level catches by Smith and Jigba and the other receivers that honestly, in a way, I know that you disagree, kept Ohio State in the game.
I mean,
so that might be a little strong, but take a step back and think about all those third and longs, fourth downs. There were a couple fourth and long plays where a receiver made a crazy grab or Stroud scrambled and then caught a guy open.
Yeah. I'd argue what kept them out of the game, what kept them from winning the game and being closer, is all the stupid self-inflicted mistakes.
There were a lot of false starts that hurt them.
A lot of offsides even.
There was a lot of holding, but I think part of that was Aiden Hutchinson
how many
there.
fumbled snaps and fumbled hands-off? 4 fumbles, I think, in the game.
No, I mean
the opening kickoff alone, when Julian Fleming get the ball at the 4-yard line to start the game, that was just perfect.
So I'm not trying to be a troll or speak anything negatively about Stroud or anything, but or obviously those receivers, but just to further emphasize the point that this was no 2011 game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the biggest compliment to Michigan and how dominant of a game it was is they could have had me at quarterback and they would have won.
Yeah. I mean, 19 passes. But that goes to the dominance of the offensive line. So no tackles for loss. And they ran the ball so much. Travion Henderson ran for 74 yards on 17 carries. But if you take away his one long run of 28, he averaged 2.8 yards per carry on the other 16.
I mean, I just take away that long carry. Why take it away?
No, I mean, 74 on 17 is
it's
okay.
Still, I agree.
I just mean, so there's one run he got away. The rest of them, 2.8 is pretty bad.
Yeah.
Mayan Williams ran 7 times at 2.9 yards per carry for 20 yards. Take away his long Zach. Sample size is tiny. It's also bad. It's like they were swimming through sick lullabies. You know what I mean? Michigan had 6 guys with carries. The lowest yards per carry was 6. That was Hassan Haskins, who ran 28 times, 169 yards, 5 touchdowns, with a long of just 27. Yeah. So you take away 27, he's still fine. It was just consistently there on the ground for Michigan, again, despite Ohio State having to know that the run was coming. On Hassan Haskins' 5th touchdown late in the 4th, Ohio State linebackers let him score, but it was, I don't remember if it was his 3rd or 4th or even 2nd, I don't remember. An earlier touchdown, it looked the same.
Yeah.
He gets into the hole and the linebackers don't want to deal with it. They were just done with it. It reminded me of the interview with Marshawn Lynch, where he says if you just run through somebody's face, a lot of people won't be able to take that over and over and over and over and over. I won't keep doing it. But he says over and over like 25 times, like one time for each Hassan Haskins number, because he's 25. Again, they knew it was coming, especially in the second half, and they just couldn't stop it.
Yeah.
Which is how Haskins can run that well, that consistently. They didn't want it. They just couldn't look. It was killing them as Michigan was taking control. This is a real question. I'm not trolling. Yeah. This is a real question. Does Ohio State fire their new defensive coordinator or demote him back to his old spot?
I say in my notes that there's defensive side of the ball, there needs to be changes. Like, somebody needs to be fired. Somebody needs to be hired. Who exactly, I don't know. I'm not the guy on the sideline. I'm not Ryan Day. I'm behind the camera.
Yeah.
Behind the microphone talking about it. But if there's someone on that staff exactly to blame, maybe Barnes. I don't know. I do think it looked like he had done a good job, like reinforcing that defense, but you're changing the defense over the course of the season, and it's a tough thing to do. So yeah, I don't know if you demote him or if you bring in more guys. I just think the linebackers weren't great. There was never a point in the season where I thought they were great. Mm-hmm. I think it was a huge issue, but they also are very inexperienced. Not a single one of them had started for Ohio State coming into the season.
Yeah, but so we've got to talk for at least a minute about Aiden Hutchinson. So he had 3 sacks to break the Michigan single-season record. There's that clip. I don't know if you saw it. I probably shared it because I blew your phone up for the last few days. But there's that clip late in the game where Aiden Hutchinson is standing up, yelling at the left tackle. Just obviously he's talking trash, saying, "I'm coming," whatever, right before the snap. And then he runs him over. Like the lineman went airborne, ended up on his butt. I think it may have been the second to last Ohio State offensive play. Stroud still got the ball away, but gosh, man. After the game, Hutchinson said they were disrespecting us, stepping on our jerseys, saying they were going to hang 100 on us. A lot of talking about it. We were about it today.
What is stepping on our jerseys, man?
They took a J.J. McCarthy jersey and threw it on the ground and were like wiping their feet on it.
Oh, when was this?
Like the day before the game, maybe a couple days.
Why didn't I see it?
I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah. But he said a lot of talking about it. We were about it. This man, according to Pro Football Focus, had 15 quarterback pressures on Saturday, which was the most in any game since Pro Football Focus started tracking college games 7 years ago.
Wow. Maybe
this game was his Heisman moment. Definitely gets him to New York. Maybe a Heisman moment comes next week when they play Iowa, who has allowed the second most sacks in the Big Ten. One thing I forgot actually in my notes is I read that Hassan Haskins had 18 first down / touchdowns on Saturday. 18 different times he got a first down or a touchdown. This is just an observation. I'm not saying it matters or one is better than the other. It's just interesting to me. C.J. Stroud completed 34 passes to 5 different players.
Yeah.
Cade McNamara completed 13 passes to just 9 different players.
Yeah. I was thinking, like, it's cool you spread the ball around, but, I mean, it doesn't really matter that much. Like,
why would you not throw it to those 5 guys and anybody else?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who the fifth would have been, because it would be the 3, and then Trey, Deion Henderson, and then maybe Julian Fleming caught one.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Probably the tight end.
Yeah. On to Iowa for the Big Ten Championship and the College Football Playoff. Open up my eager eyes. I'm Mr. Brightside, Zach. Any thoughts to add?
I think for the first time in a long time, Michigan just flat out wanted the game more. And I'm not saying Ohio State didn't want to win the game or didn't want the game, but I think Michigan just had a different ambition about them. Their team was different this year. Like, what's their name said? Yeah, that's what he says. But, yeah, I just think that they wanted it more. And I think the defensive improvement was obviously fraudulent, and I said that they need to make changes on that side of the ball. I do think, like I said, the linebackers are really young, and they bring in 5-star C.J. Hicks at linebacker next year. Maybe he can make an immediate impact. I don't want to ask a lot of him, but we kind of need it. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the defense can't improve a lot in one off season. Like I think it's stuff that can be improved in one off season. I think a lot of it comes down to execution, really. Like the linebackers were playing so passive against Michigan and not filling the gaps well. and they just weren't doing their jobs well. And I mean, and even talking about how young they are, Steele Chambers is a player that went from running back to linebacker this offseason. So he hadn't played linebacker at this level ever, like not even in practice until this year. I think they were outcoached, like for the first time too. Harbaugh outcoached the Ohio State coach.
Michigan's first touchdown, they have thrown that little flare screen or whatever so many times.
Yeah.
And then to do the Statue of Liberty handoff.
Yeah. It was a
for
cool,
so many
play call.
So many years, especially under Harbaugh, they seemed so hard-headed about this is what we're going to do all year that it was like they've got to be setting something up for Ohio State, and they weren't, or at least they didn't pull it out for that game. And then this game was the first time
they
run
stupid stuff that tried to be unique when they when they lined up 11 guys in a row.
Yeah, the train.
That was so stupid. Sorry. There was nothing good from the defense at all. Even the interception that they had, like,
it's a bad decision.
It was just a bad read. The wheel route was wide open, and Cade threw it into triple coverage.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't even that good of a play by Ohio State's defense. I still love the Buckeyes. Obviously, I think C.J. Stroud played amazing considering how often he was pressured and how many times he was sacked. He still threw for almost 400 yards and 2 touchdowns. And there was only, I think, there was only one interceptable ball that he threw, and I honestly thought there was pass interference on the defense on the play. Not the guy that almost intercepted it, but the safety almost intercepted it. The corner was tackling Garrett Wilson.
You got to play better than the ref's rep.
Yeah. I've never said that, but sure.
I know.
I think the miscues by Ohio State were detrimental. I think if they limit the mistakes, they could easily win this game. There were so many false starts. They had 4 fumbles. They didn't lose any of them, but it still sets you back. It messes up the rhythm of the drive. It sets you back on the sticks, and it's just not good all around. I think it's funny that Michigan played an absolutely perfect game, and Ohio State was still very much in the game in the fourth quarter.
You just talked about an interception. I don't think Michigan played a perfect game.
They played pretty much a perfect game to their standards, yeah. and Ohio State still very much had a shot to win the game in the fourth. I mean, if you could get a stop. But,
I mean, after like the first drive of the second half, I don't think Ohio State ever had the ball down 1 score.
That's true.
So I don't know.
Yeah, but they were down 1 score.
I mean, I was heartened, but I took away Michigan didn't play a perfect game and still won by 15. And Ohio State had to convert so many 3rd and long, 4th down, whatever.
I don't know. I don't think Michigan could have played better. Is what I'm saying by they're playing a perfect game.
Okay.
After the game, this really rubbed me the wrong way. I thought it was arrogant, ignorant that Jim Harbaugh said sometimes people are standing on third base, think they hit a triple, but they didn't. I just think it's stupid, first of all, and it's just bulletin board material for next year. I would argue that, if we're using the baseball analogy, that Ryan Day has been a home run, and I'd even say a 3-run homer. And the only thing holding me back from saying a grand slam is he hasn't won a national championship yet. I think he will eventually.
What,
it could even
for
come
the Bears?
next year. He's not going to the Bears. And Jim Harbaugh, who's in his 7th season right now, has only hit singles with a batting average of maybe 100. And this is the first time he's beat his biggest rival, and it came in the 6th attempt. In the 7th year, coming off a year with COVID super seniors, when this is one of the youngest Ohio State teams he's faced.
Yeah, Michigan has a really young team too, but it's all right. I would argue, I admit, I think Ryan Day is a fantastic coach.
Yeah.
He walked into a fantastic roster.
I think even if he had a fantastic roster, to accomplish what Jim Harbaugh had accomplished in 6 years or 5 years at the time, in his first year, and then some, is pretty impressive. He was this close to being in the national championship his first season. If Olave, or I don't remember which receiver it was, I think it was Olave, if he runs the right route, it's a touchdown, and Ohio State beats Clemson, and they're in the national championship.
No, I mean, I think Ryan Day is great.
Yeah.
He also walked into very, very good roster.
Yeah, but you can walk into a good roster and just
lose to your rival in
your
second game against them. Yeah.
The second game.
Give up a home
Ohio
run
State,
to a guy batting
as young,
100.
As young as Michigan is, Ohio State is littered with freshmen and playing in huge roles this season. A lot of them true freshmen, and this is the first time that Jim has been to the Big Ten championship game in his 7th season. Maybe give him a double for that accomplishment, his first double after a bunch of singles. And then if he can make the playoffs, maybe he's got a triple, maybe even a home run if he makes the playoffs.
Yeah.
But it took him 7 seasons to get this point, an accomplishment that Ryan Day did in his first season.
Yeah, he took over a better team. But yeah, I will say I'm
Okay.
glad that last week was the week that I said I think we're sleeping on Jim Harbaugh a little bit. We're ignoring the good that he has
I
done.
left off my notes about the recruiting. I had some notes about Hoke recruited just as good, if not better, than Harbaugh.
He recruited a lot of players
and
that didn't play for Michigan. Yeah.
I get, sure, a lot of them transferred, but why wouldn't they want to play for Harbaugh? He's this NFL coach.
Some of them transferred before. He didn't just recruit 1 year.
Okay. But they still recruited it very well. Even if a lot of them transfer, you should still have a good team, a good solid team. People transfer from Ohio State. Jack Miller just transferred. Joe Burrow transferred.
Mm-hmm.
They still fared pretty well.
That's a little different, I think, but yeah. Because even if Michigan recruited some good top players, Ohio State recruited a lot of good top players. So if some of them left, it didn't matter. A lot of them were leaving because they got beat out by another 5-star or whatever.
Yeah.
Michigan would get 1 5-star a year, maybe?
Yeah, that's about what the average has been since Hoke.
Yeah. So, if you replace a 5-star with a 3-star from Ohio that Ohio State didn't want, okay. Good luck winning. Just because the guy left who was better than you.
The last thing I have about the game is
Yeah.
I just want to know, what did you think of the refs?
I thought they were good.
That they were good?
Yeah. The only thing that I got frustrated with during the game
Yeah.
was when the Ohio State player ripped off the helmet and Gus Johnson says, there are no flags on the field.
Well, I mean, I think
I think the call ended up okay. I am surprised that they didn't do offsetting personal fouls on top of the one. I don't know.
What I would like to say about that is, if in that situation, I want to see a ref that cares more about the kids than being power hungry. I want to see the refs that want to break up the fight before they throw the flag. If you're more worried about, I got to get this flag out first before I break up this fight, it's kind of lame.
You don't want to forget he's an old man. Yeah, I don't know.
I do also think they got that call wrong, but
I don't. But I do think that they were trying to let things go, and they almost let it get out of hand.
yeah.
That play was like boiling over, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and that could have been really bad. But I'm glad it wasn't.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun, chippy game. There was a lot of no calls both ways. I thought there was some bad
players
calls.
talk.
Yeah, I thought it was a fun. I think the refs did a good job, even though it was 2-10. I think a lot of it was self-inflicted.
A lot of them were false starts.
Yeah.
I do think I would rather have a game officiated like that than when refs try to nip it in the bud right off the bat and just throw flags all over the place to try to, whatever. I'd rather risk a brawl that I'm not in.
And I mean, nobody's about it. They're not really about it. They're not going to fight.
Right.
They're not going to fight. And if they do, the teammates are going to break it up.
Worst
right away.
case, they punch a player with a helmet on.
And then their teammates grab them. Like
Yeah.
most of the teammates are going to stop that, especially if a punch is thrown.
Yeah. Big Ten Players of the Week. This is my favorite.
We can
week.
just skip this.
Hassan Haskins, he went to Michigan. 28 carries, 169 yards, 6 yards per carry, 5 touchdowns. He did so well, I actually bought an autographed Hassan Haskins mini helmet. He's a legend. He's up there with Biaka Batuka rushing for 313. I love Hassan Haskins. He could come back. He probably won't. Probably shouldn't. Come back, man.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
I mean,
what?
I mean, should he come back? I mean,
No.
Blake Corum, not even like
Blake Corum and Donovan Edwards.
I was gonna say, he might end up like Master Teague if he comes back.
With Donovan Edwards' one-handed catch on that swing pass out to him, they could just move him out to receiver if they need to.
Seriously.
Aiden Hutchinson, 3 sacks, 7 tackles.
He was really defensive player of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that.
3
one.
sacks, but
I thought it should have been Bryson Shaw with the interception. Tell me Aiden Hutchinson couldn't have had an interception?
He almost did on that.
Yeah, it should have been Bryson Shaw.
He definitely would have won the Heisman if he tipped that and picked it off.
For 6 too?
Jeez Louise.
Yeah, he's not going to win the Heisman though. Sorry.
No, I mean, probably not.
I just think it'll be so lame. Like, there's been so many great, don't get me wrong, Aiden Hutchinson's great defensive player, best defensive player in the country, but I think there's been so many great defensive players that have been better, more dominant than him, that haven't won it, that I'm like, if Aiden Hutchinson wins it as a defensive player, I'm like, it's kind of boring.
Yeah, but also
Like-
the other defensive players who came before him played against better offensive players.
I get it's a weak year for the Heisman. Somehow Bryce Young is the Heisman front runner.
It was basically
It's
C.J.
baffling
Stroud
to me.
of Alabama just throwing it to good receivers.
I mean, he
I'm just
couldn't
joking, Zach.
throw for 50% against Auburn.
Yeah.
6-6 Auburn. And they're praising him after that game. Someone was like, "Is this his Heisman moment?" I was like, "What?"
Hutchinson.
There was one play.
Oh,
Bryce,
in the Alabama game.
yeah, there was this one play. Sorry to get off
You're
topic.
fine.
Bryce Young. There was one play he had all day to throw, all day, like literally 5, 6, 7 seconds, and he just throws the ball straight to an Auburn defender. And I was like, "Wow, this is your Heisman." I didn't think you give it to C.J. Stroud or Kenneth Walker. But
Well, Aiden Hutchinson currently has better odds to win the Heisman than either of those, I think.
really,
Yeah. I know for sure it's above Walker.
yeah,
Might be.
I think C.J. Stroud is still
Stroud
second.
might be number 2.
I
That's
think so,
fine.
yeah.
Either way, fantastic.
Pick standings.
Hopefully Hutchinson has a good conference championship game. It's fun. It'd be cool if the only 2 defensive players to ever win the Heisman both went to Michigan. But pick standings, I went 6-2 this week.
I did terrible.
88-23 overall, 79.27%. You did a little worse than that, 2-5, 84-27 overall.
Nebraska
75%.
screwed me, the Buckeyes screwed me, and Schiano screwed me.
And then John Harbaugh screwed you by beating the Browns.
Who's John Harbaugh? Just kidding.
He's the man that provided Mike McDonald to Jim Harbaugh,
Yeah.
who shut down C.J. Stroud as good as anybody else.
Jim Harbaugh provided, who's the OC for the Ravens now, was the OC for the 49ers.
Oh,
when
Greg
Harbaugh
Roman.
was there, yeah, Greg
Yeah.
Roman. I was thinking of those names, but then I was like, I don't want to get it wrong on the show.
Yeah, you don't want to be dumb. Big Ten takeaways. Oh, wait, so for the pick standings, you're taking me out for a,
we're gonna-
real nice meal.
Yeah, we're going to go to Ukai.
Japanese steakhouse, hibachi, if you didn't know.
Yeah.
Big Ten takeaways. You got any?
No, I got no.
I just got one. Everyone is talking about it, so I can't put it there in things nobody's talking about. But Nebraska finished 1-8 in the conference with a point differential of exactly 0
In conference play, yeah.
in conference play. That is
It's
amazing.
insane. We're gonna be talking about this 30 years from now. This season that Nebraska had
Yeah, it's amazing. They're the best 1-8 Big Ten conference team of all time.
3-9. Goodness gracious.
Michigan versus Iowa Big Ten championship. The first Big Ten championship to ever take place. Saturday at 8 p.m. I'll go first
I'll
because
go
it's
first.
Michigan.
I'll go first.
All right.
I think they realistically should dominate Iowa, and as long as Michigan doesn't, as long as they're coming overly confident and don't do their normal prep, they don't do their normal take care of business week, they should just take care of business in the game. They're the superior team. I think they'll win by 10.
Yeah. Ohio State's not my only.
Well, something about that.
Michigan's making you hot now.
I guess.
Ohio State isn't my only emotional scar from 2016. On paper, I think Michigan should win by a lot without much problem at all. Spencer Petras is one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the country. Their offense is terrible.
Spencer Petras was starting for Michigan. They would have beat Ohio State last week.
I think if I started for Ohio State, I could have thrown it up to Smith and Jigba.
Come on now.
The defense is really reliant on turnovers for
Yeah.
Iowa. Michigan doesn't turn the ball over much.
Well, the offense is relying on turnovers for Iowa, too.
Yeah, that's very fair. I got Michigan by 17. Could be way more. If it's closer, I might get a little frustrated even with the Michigan win. I'm a big fan of Rich Eisen. Rich Eisen did say, and I agree with him, even though I know that this admittedly sounds a little pathetic, but at this point, it's like house money. We feel so good from this win. It's been such a monkey off of our backs to beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
Not in a fluky way that, Michigan should win. I'll be really pissed if they lose. It's house money at this point. Should win it.
Yeah.
Better win it, but whatever. Things no one is talking about. Do you got any?
Yeah, I think Cincinnati could realistically win the national championship.
Dang.
I just think,
You love Luke
like,
Fickle.
if of all the years of a Power 5 team, I think this is the best since the playoff has started. I think this is the best Power 5 team we've seen, and I think this is the worst playoff we've seen.
Dang.
I mean, we haven't figured out who's in it yet. But
Not yet.
I think-
we're getting
I think-
pretty close.
I think their biggest, no chance they beat them is if Alabama finds their way in and beats them and plays them. but I think that's the only team that can realistically make it that I think that they wouldn't have a chance against.
Yeah. All season long, we treated the segment like underrated things, some things somehow going under the radar, but I'm going to take a little different approach to this one. Things no one is talking about. Michigan State, no one cares about you but you. Viewer questions. Will Zach admit that Ohio State was scared? Let me answer first. No, he won't, but they were.
No, they weren't. They weren't scared.
It seems like they were scared of Hassan Haskins running through their face.
I think it would be more of like giving up, but not scared.
Okay.
So
the answer is no.
No.
Assuming Michigan wins Saturday, what do they do at quarterback next year? They can't bench a quarterback that got them to the playoff, but they can't keep McCarthy on the bench, right? Interestingly, Zach, I literally got this question 4 times, all from Michigan State fans. I don't know if they're trying to...
I mean, who cares?
Yeah, I know. Here's what I'll say. Either they have a quarterback who just led them to the playoff, or a 5-star quarterback who beat out a quarterback who just led them to the playoff. I don't care.
Yeah.
Definition of win-win.
Yeah. That's why people keep talking like, oh, Quinn Ewers is going to transfer. I'm like, we're just going to.
They got 8 more quarterbacks that are 5 stars on the roster.
Got
Who cares?
Ford, got C.J. Stroud, got more guys coming in the future. I'm sure that are great. I mean, I said who cares, and I said J.K. Honestly, it's got to be JJ. If they don't give him a chance, then he's going to transfer.
I don't know that he would. He could have a package again and then try to beat him out the next year and then might transfer. But
career. That's what I meant. Is like he transfers
after next year.
After next year, yeah. I think he'll stick around through next year, but
they definitely need him next year because the quarterback room is pretty thin right now. Yeah. They had a guy retire from football because medical stuff, and then they got a bad guy after JJ, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Is Wisconsin transfer Jaylen Berger going to be able to fill in the gap Kenneth Walker leaves MSU?
I mean, it's pretty big shoes to fill. Kenneth Walker is probably the best college running back they've ever seen.
Yeah. Berger had 24 carries for 88 yards. It's 3.7 yards per carry.
I'm predicting no. But do I think, hey, he could be pretty good? Maybe. I mean, Kenneth Walker didn't even start at Wake Forest. I think Wisconsin
put up mediocre numbers at Wake Forest.
I mean, and I think Wisconsin gets better running backs than Wake Forest does. He was a 4-star.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, he could be pretty good, but I believe he as good as Kenneth Walker? No.
I would rather them... So, Jaylen Berger committed to Michigan State. I would rather them get Jaylen Berger than that 5-star who's transferring from TCU.
Zach Evans?
Yeah.
He's pretty tough.
Sweet.
He was a guy that Ohio State recruited hard, and then his recruiting was insane. He ended up going to TCU, his recruitment went through the summer or something like that, I think. And then he committed to somebody, I think, and went on campus and everything. I might be thinking of somebody else, but it'll be something to watch.
Yeah,
where he goes.
Playoff predictions. I guess will be the last prediction that we make before it actually happens.
Yeah. So this is our predictions of
where we end up,
where the season will end.
Yep.
Okay.
I'll let you go first.
I mean, we could go. We're gonna go 1-1.
Oh,
2,
sure.
Okay.
1.
Yeah. 1. I've got Georgia. 2.
Michigan.
Yeah.
3. Cincinnati. Oh my gosh.
4. Ohio
Notre
State.
Dame.
Ohio State. No, I'm kidding. I got Oklahoma State. The other OSU.
It's funny, in my brain you said Oklahoma State instead of whatever. It doesn't matter. I just think Oklahoma State loses to Baylor. And then Notre Dame loses to Georgia, and then Michigan beats Georgia.
I honestly think there's a great argument for 2-loss Ohio State being in over Notre Dame. But
I'm sure you do. I mean, really,
I'm a little biased, but
I think Notre Dame sucks. I just think they're going to get in.
Yeah.
There's not much to talk about with basketball. We're just doing this real quick. So basketball predictions for the next couple of games. Michigan has obviously struggled. I'm not just dodging that. I am worried. I'm on the ledge to jump into panic, but I'm not jumping off of the ledge quite yet. Ohio State
struggled too.
Yeah.
They got 2 losses.
Yeah. Ohio State on November 30th is at home against Duke, and then at Penn State December 5th.
Number 1 Duke.
Number 1 Duke, who just beat Gonzaga.
Yeah, beat Gonzaga. I think that's a factor.
Yeah. What are your predictions for those 2 games?
Ohio State's had a brutal schedule so far. I mean, they played numerous teams
is
that are
rough.
either ranked or receiving votes in a row. But the last time Ohio State lost to Michigan, it's been a long time in football. They beat a top 5 Duke the following Tuesday at home, and I think they get it done again as Duke is coming off beating the preseason number 1 Gonzaga. I think they get it done.
History repeats itself.
Surprising upset, yeah. I think the backcourt really gets it together as they go 2-0 this week, and Jamari Wheeler beats his former team at Penn State.
Let's go. I will say
that or Ohio State lose to Duke by 35.
Yeah, I got Duke by 35, and then Ohio State over Penn State. Michigan at North Carolina on December 1st, the day after Duke dismembers Ohio State. And then at home against San Diego State, December 4th. I'm nervous, but I'm doubling down like I did for the football team. I'm going to say 2-0.
Yeah, I think they'll go 2-0 this week.
I hope so.
I will say, okay, so how do you pronounce his name? Paleo Banchero or something?
Oh, yeah, Paulo Banchero.
Paulo Banchero, yeah. Watching him in the first half of Gonzaga, I was like, holy crap. Ohio State is in big trouble. Who the heck is going to guard him? But then he scored like 1 point in the second half. I was like, who cares? We got this guy. Lock him up. Put Kyle Young on him. He's going to shut him down.
I would love to see Kyle Young guard him. That'd be good. Tweets of the week.
Yeah.
Because I got a few.
You could do 2 and then I'll go, and then you do 1.
All right.
Yeah. Because you got 3, right?
Yeah. From Aunt Wright, what if we went out, huh? God bless you, Cade McNamara.
Don't you hate Aunt Wright?
I have a love-hate
I'm sure a lot of
relationship
people
with him.
tweeted that. You could have found somebody else.
He's the first one I saw that did it.
Yeah.
What if we went out, huh? I got to get that tattoo.
I just think it's funny, like that quote's from last season, and they've lost a few games since then. Like
new season, same quarterback.
But the quotes.
That doesn't matter. From the state police in Detroit, the official account. Those leaving Ann Arbor, please drive safe and celebrate safely. If you happen to be heading to the state down south, you can really take your time. Your season is over.
I was saying to my mom after the game, I was like, it's so weird to me because it's been so many years in a row that they've been in the Big Ten championship at least, that like Ohio State has 1 more game. Like I honestly was going into this game expecting 3 more games. Like I really thought that they had national championship aspirations, and then just flushed on the toilet.
You know, if you're so against Aiden Hutchinson winning it, you know who has as many touchdowns as Kenneth Walker, but way fewer carries?
Who?
Hassan Haskins.
Who's that?
The guy who just ran through your face over and over over and over.
Blocked that name
over and
over.
over.
I don't know.
What's your tweet of the week?
My tweet of the week is from good old Chase Winovich. He tweeted "Revenge Tour ... complete," and then the 3 M emojis.
Is he wrong?
Yes, he's wrong. Chase,
that's ridiculous.
If you don't know, it was just as soon as I saw it, I bursted out laughing. Like wow, I was still like this was shortly after the game. I was still like feeling pretty depressed, and that just changed my mood, and my mood's been fine since. Thank you, Chase Winovich, for getting me out of that depression hole. But it's just hilarious. It took him 3 years, and he wasn't even on the team. 2018 was when the Revenge Tour was, and Ohio State put up 62 on on Michigan.
2018, I went to a Michigan basketball game with some of our friends.
Yeah.
Right the day before the game, the Revenge Tour shirts were on sale. Man, Chase Winovich would have made a killing on those. Whatever, NIL didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
And our friend Isaiah went to buy the shirt, and I said, "Dude, what if they lose?" And he bought the shirt, and Michigan lost. Isaiah, you're forgiven officially.
Officially forgiven, Isaiah.
Yep. My last one.
Revenge Tour shirt.
Yeah. I'll search eBay.
But the thing is, like, you didn't do it in 1 year either, still, because you lost to Michigan State.
It's a stupid comment.
It's just so stupid.
That game doesn't matter now. How does it feel to be gifted a game against your biggest rival, only for it to not matter because they beat their biggest rival and are probably going to the playoff? That's good.
That was the tweet?
Yeah. No, from Alejandro, our friend, singing Mr. Brightside from the Michigan Stadium field after beating Ohio State. This is the only song I've listened to since Saturday, and it's been on repeat. Just to give the Killers some more money, when I go to sleep, I put it on repeat, turn the phone down low, put it on the other side of the room. Just to thank the Killers.
You could put it at 0 and just let it play.
You'd have to have some sound for them to get money.
Oh, really?
Yep.
They know that? Weird.
Technology. That's all we have for today. We'll see you next week. talking about how Michigan beat Iowa by 42.
Talking about
Hopefully.
how Ohio State beat Duke.
Sure. What's basketball? I don't care.
And we're going to be talking about how Ohio State made the playoffs.
We will be talking way more basketball from now on, probably.
Yeah.
But with that, go buy your eggnog, drink it all up, or do what I did on Saturday. Go buy a package of Buckeyes, chocolate-covered peanut butter. Eat them up, crap them out. As always, go blue.
Go Buckeyes.